do 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 do. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Are we live? Is that live? Is that working? Is that? Yeah, that's work. Hey, the new camera crispness. As you may know, Ratchet and Clank embargoes have been dropped, pretty much. That's how confident they are about the game. They wanted to get people talking about it from now. They want the good reviews to get out there in the world. So I figured, why not? Let's take a look at what everybody's saying about it. There's some new footage. There's the final preview that's come out. There's PlayStation talking about their favorite things about it. There's a bunch of stuff, basically, that is coming out. So I figured we'd just watch some of it together. You know, like a live reacts kind of made sense to me completely. I'm just gonna put my phone on mute. We're gonna take a little. We'll take like five to 10 minutes just while everybody gets in. Should we check that this is all looking good as well? Everybody happy with that? As a thing, you get your chat box on. Who's in here? Show me a sign. But yeah, we got this all going. I can get rid of the banner back as well. Oh, it's disappeared. Oh, wait, no. Do that. Boom. There we go. We got that in the background as well now. Yeah, but, like, I just thought it made sense to sort of, you know. Is that the banner? Yeah, that's the banner. Okay. I need to really learn what these are. But, yeah, I thought it would make sense to just watch some stuff together. So, hopefully, let me get my chat up so I can see it properly and stuff. By the way, the camera angle will be changing soon, by Saturday, but unfortunately I can't get a new camera arm any sooner than that. Joey in the chat, I_George in the chat, how are you doing? Yeah, we're going to be watching the footage, the reviews, and have a good time. So I just want to make sure people are in here before we start doing anything like that. See how you're doing. How's your week going? It is Wednesday. For me, Wednesday's always a dip day, so, you know, nice to just spend it with some people, have a bit of fun, and watch some new gameplay footage and see what people are saying about the game as well. I_George using the old emotes in there. We got the new emotes, baby. We got the new. Look at this. This is how I'm feeling now, though. New Ratchet and Clank footage right there. Dominic, I'm doing well. How are you doing, man? I hope you're having a good week as well. Paul, how's it going? Goran, how's it going? Ronnie, just got Returnal, gonna try it tonight. How's you? I'm doing good, man. I'm a little bit annoyed at Returnal. I'm working on a video for Returnal that I was gonna put out tonight, but because I'm doing this and I've got a reaction video that's already ready to go out a bit later, I figure I'll probably do my Returnal upload tomorrow. But it's just sort of discussing, while I don't completely agree with a save point, having now hit some frustrations with bugs over the time that I've been playing that have ruined runs. I've kind of come up with a compromise that I'd like to discuss a little bit more in detail, so I'm sort of working on a little video about that, which will be out tomorrow. But yeah, I really do like a Returnal, and I also do feel a bit like a save point would be too much of a ruiner, but at the same time, I think there's some things that sort of need to be addressed, especially with like running into bugs straight after a patch. So that's how I feel. Mania, how you doing, man? I'm here, we can start. Hey, I'm just gonna give people a little bit more of a chance to get in. Just make sure we've got enough people in here. Not that there needs to be a certain number of any people, but like, you know, I think because it goes live, you got to let people get the notification and stuff. We'll start in around like 5 minutes or so, you know. But other than that, grab a tea. Make yourselves comfortable. Oh, you can't actually see the chat when I put up the Game Informer thing like that, so I'm going to make it go like that. But yeah, I hope you like the look of the new camera. Everything's doing well. Yeah, I'm really excited for Ratchet and Clank. That's really hot. Yeah, I'm excited for Ratchet and Clank massively. Rift Apart. They're spoiling us again, aren't they? They're spoiling us. They're just like, check this out and check that. Like, look, we got new stuff for you. We got new stuff left, right, and center. So, yeah. But I'm excited to see it. This isn't... Ratchet and Clank falls a little bit under, like, with Returnal, I didn't want to see too much because I didn't want it to be ruined. I feel like parts of Resident Evil were slightly ruined for me because they showed me way too much of the game. But with Ratchet and Clank, because it's just a fun adventure, I really don't mind seeing too much about it. I'm not really like, oh no, spoilers, you know, because it's just the gameplay in the Ratchet and Clank that I played was just so enjoyable that the story came a little bit second to the overall fun and excitement of the game, in my opinion. While the story was great as well, and it had some really good narration, and on top of that, it was like had great humor and character, I think. So yeah, I really just enjoy it for the ride that it is. I like the camera, but the white balance is a little bit in comparison with the vibrating background. Yeah, I'll work out white balance at some point, man. It's a work in progress. I'm just happy to have it nice and good. But I mean, this is kind of natural. It's a tiny bit too orange, though. I do agree with you, Jason. New camera looks great, my dude. Thank you so much, man. I'm really am like so over the moon with the results. It's just so clear. I made a thumbnail for today's video, and it just looks like just so crystal clear. I was just so happy with it, and I can't wait to actually get out and experiment with it. But you know, I got to get some insurance and things like that, take it out to safe areas. Luckily now my little baby, this is the guy that I've been filming on for the past however long. This is a Canon M50. I can highly recommend this for if you want to start streaming and stuff. It's a very easy to use camera. I'll probably still use this for like blogs and stuff because it's obviously a lot less expensive. It's got the front facing screen, which my new camera doesn't have, so this is very good for outdoor vlogs and things like that as well. But at the same time, it plugs straight in via USB, and because of Canon's webcam utility, you can actually just straight load it up like a webcam anyway, so it's like super hassle free. And I believe when I got this was around 450, I think, at the time, so it's probably like less than that now. Very good starter camera. If you also get yourself one of these, which is like 100 pound more, then what you can actually do is attach all of your EF Canon lenses onto it as well, which means you can really up the quality of this in general by just getting this slight attachment put on it. So for anyone that's out there like wondering about streaming and stuff, like, this is a very good starter camera. I know a lot of people just get little webcams and things like that, but this is like, if you wanted to like say do more of a YouTube channel, not just streaming, then this is good for vlogging and other stuff as well like that. The Canon M50, I've not been endorsed to say any of that, but just so you can see what I've been filming on for the time that we've been doing the streams and stuff. But yeah, I think we've got enough people in here to actually get ready and get into it. I've done enough talking. I've let everyone come in. They've got their seats. They've got their popcorn. We're ready to go. Let me know about audio levels. It should all be fine, but please do let me know about audio levels. We're going to go into the viewing room, and we're going to actually get started and watch. What's the first thing we're going to watch? We're going to watch new gameplay. We're going to watch some new gameplay from Game Informer, and then we're going to watch a video from PlayStation, which is actually talking about some of their favorite features. It's a little bit of a longer video. I will be pausing at some points and times, but trying not to do it too heavily. But yeah, I will be discussing stuff. This is a live reaction at the same time to everything we're seeing. So yes, that's me talking done. Let's get into it. Do let me know.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of New Gameplay Today. I am your host, Alex Stadnick. Joined with me, two of my furriest friends, Blake Hester. Hello.
Don't you ever say that about me
Ben
again.
Reeves.
What is wrong with you?
And Ben Reeves. We're moving past it.
He just called them furries off the bat. I respect it.
Today, we're giving you guys a quick look at Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I would assume you need no introduction, but this is the return to the Ratchet and Clank series that we haven't had in a long time. We had the 2016 game, but that was a remake. So I'm excited for this, guys. How are you feeling? You guys did the watch along a little earlier, right?
Yes.
The base of space.
I'm really excited for it. I'm not a huge Ratchet head, as the fandom's called, but this one has certainly piqued my interest. If only because, God, it is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it looks beautiful off the bat, doesn't
the
it?
game looks gorgeous visually. I love all the little details in the world. I love sci-fi worlds in particular, so yeah.
for sure.
She's got a whole new array of weapons as well.
Reiner and I got a chance to talk to the developers.
She turned them into
during
flowers?
the preview phase, and they talked about how this game was only ever going to be a PlayStation game, because we asked them about like the origins of the project, and they really said
PS5 game,
they were working on Spider-Man, they worked on Sunset Overdrive.
This is straight up PS5
the team
goodness,
wanted to come back to Ratchet, but they
it.
wanted the right way to do it, and through the SSD and some of the technical pieces of the PS5, they were able to accomplish that. As you see right here, right? She literally teleports seamlessly, like through using her Rift abilities, and it is incredible. And I can't wait to actually get to physically play it. Right?
Now hold on, I'm sorry. You said this game was only ever going to be a PlayStation game. Did you mean only ever going to be a PS5 game?
Correct. Excuse me. I just got too excited.
Oh.
Yeah, should have edited that out.
You're saying they'll never put it to PlayStation 6.
This is a one and done deal, folks.
Yeah.
It's not coming to Stadia.
You pre-ordered this game already?
I think you probably can.
Good man.
Yeah.
I might do the same.
Definitely. So as you can see, this is, and if you clicked on it, obviously you're here for the sweet Rivet gameplay, and that's what you're getting, voiced by Jennifer Hale herself, which is very exciting.
The particles look so. That shield looks awesome.
Thank you.
And
that was a bit of a clanker, I think. I don't know.
Let us know in the comments below. Was riveting a good joke?
I have no doubt that they will. But when we talked to Insomniac, they talked about Rivet gets introduced pretty quickly, and they really wanted to. The start of this was they thought about doing like the Bizarro world, right, where you go to a different dimension and Ratchet's kind of a mean soul, but then they wanted to examine like the idea of like what would Ratchet be without Clank, right? And this is kind of the look into that, and
that's how Rivet became a character.
Yep.
Basically, is what you're saying.
That's pretty cool.
Hold on. So is the implication there that Ratchet will not have Clank for the majority of his journey?
They wouldn't say to us. They showed in like the state of play, right, that Clank
they get separated.
and Rivet
we see that.
are together, and Ratchet is trying to get him back, right, and figure out what's going on. So I'm excited. They talked about how you're gonna explore these worlds kind of in tandem.
Again, and we saw a little bit of this in the state of play. This is where, to me, it's like it goes seamless from the animations straight back into the gameplay, and you realize that there's not a drop in quality whatsoever. Really interesting point here about the fact that she's like, they were going to go Bizarro world, which, if anyone knows, like, Bizarro is like the alternate version of Superman made by Lex Luthor and stuff. So it would have been cool to actually see Ratchet in a Bizarro scenario, but it's actually probably really awesome to sort of go for like a gender flip on Ratchet himself, and we get that in Rivet, which I think is awesome. And I'm really liking the variety in gameplay that we see already. It's one of my favorite things about Ratchet and Clank overall. Is like the way I described it recently, having played Doom, is it's like kids' Doom to a degree. Like, yeah, there's loads of adult jokes and stuff in it, but like what's so cool is the variety of weapons and the way that you can combo those together to actually take down enemies. And we're seeing such an array of stuff here. I would personally like them to talk more about what's actually happening on screen, but it's quite cool hearing some of this backstory that they've got from Insomniac themselves. I am just so over the moon with the delivery on like Insomniac's start of the PS5 generation. Like they come swinging like straight out the gate with Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is just such a great technical display in itself, and the fact that it still ran on PS4 was cool, but it really shined on PS5. And then moving only like X amount of months into the future, we also get this beautiful game that is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where it just looks so much more like this is a game that you can see has been designed with only the PS5 in mind, and I am just blown away with every bit of footage I see put into this. It's crazy, and we're not even playing it yet.
And Rivet will have different things to do on the same planets, so combining that with the interesting they talked about like the different what's the word I'm looking for? Like gear you can unlock and whatnot, and it's going to be an interesting balance to see how those two interact with each other. So.
Oh wow, this is you playing the holy sh.
Oh, we got some scale. You
Wow.
guys like cinematic stuff?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, it looked awesome. We saw some of the new weapons too. It looks like
That part's gonna annoy me so badly.
A topiary gun. It looks like you can turn people into like plants.
Yeah. Yep, and get behind them like the guys using the shields. They wouldn't bow to normal weapons, right? So
into the jump with the hook.
This is another part too that Ratchet's always had the on.
That is
sections,
so
right?
cool. Are you kidding me?
When talking to them, they talked about like their experience
Are you
on
kidding me?
Sunset and Spider-Man that have really engaging, fun traversal systems, and I think that's part of what the addition to it, right? Is bouncing off the walls, like making it feel a little bit more
Skating
active
on
instead
him.
of just jumping on a rail. So
I tend to try to temper my enthusiasm or when we do videos like this, but this is rad.
Yeah, bro.
right?
Say it.
Yeah. Everything they've shown so far has me very, very excited.
I
I
feel
love
like
that as well. The
Insomniac
motion
is
that she
a
picks
kind
up,
of
the
like
speed.
the golden child or a shining example of AAA set pieces. You know, like I feel Naughty Dog. I think I've kind of got burnt out on their brand of them, but all the ones in Spider-Man are so good, and this looks to
He's right. He is right.
obviously carry on that lineage.
But
For sure. And we're gonna end it quick with a little.
just to be fair to Naughty Dog, yeah, some of those action sequences in Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us 2, let's not downplay like the chase scene in Uncharted 4 when you're literally like being dragged across that massive set piece as you shoot people out of their vehicles, and then you get thrown into the flipped over car that you have to escape. There's just... And then, like, funny enough, the car scene in The Last of Us 2, and when you're riding on the fucking horse, going through the flaming city in The Last of Us 2, don't downplay Naughty Dog and say they got burnt out, bro. Come on, man. Say what you want about the games narratively and things that you did or didn't like. But at the same time, I would put the two on par. Like, both have outdone themselves when it comes to these set piece immersions, and that's... I'm not taking that out away from anyone. Like, you know, I think both, like, Spider-Man has some awesome moments as well, 100%. But yo, don't disrespect the dog like that either, man. Just let's call it for what it is. The PlayStation delivers these beautiful set pieces because they are so concerned with making the single player experience the very best that it can be, and one of the best ways to do that is have you walk that fine line between playing the action in a movie and still playing a game, you know. But everything we've seen here has been so awesome. If you watch my Ratchet & Clank playthrough, you will know that I completely like messed up on these skating line things, so I'm looking to redeem myself in this game. But I'll probably die a couple times here anyway. Let's just see how they wrap up the video.
Look at Ratchet. This is from the beginning of the game where things are kind of going awry, and Dr. Nefarious grabs the Dimensionator, I believe it's called. So, but that's
Looks
a pretty
so
quick look.
good, man.
We have a couple more videos on the YouTube page right now that you guys can go check out.
More videos?
Are more interview focused, but still show off some of the opening. And then Andrew Reiner himself has a bit of a preview for this awesome looking game. So, Ben, Blake, any quick final thoughts?
When's this game come out?
Soon.
June 11, right?
Soon,
Yes, sir.
bro.
On PS5.
Not June
exclusive.
11th, man.
We're not there
So
yet.
soon.
One day. So
Less than a month. We're closing in. No,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
cannot wait. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey, thank you guys. Honestly, thank you for that. We're going back to the studio real quick. Thoughts and feelings on this, everybody? How you feeling? I'm going to load up. I'm going to go to their YouTube and see what else they've got on offer, but we're going to watch a different video next. That was the 4K one. All right, so they've got the checking out the opening with Insomniac Games. Well, maybe we'll watch that next, but it's only 2 minutes. Yeah, that's a good little segue. And then we'll go into the PlayStation video. IGN have got their video up as well, but it looks like it's just more of the same. It's called a hands-off preview. So did they just send... It seems like they just sent the footage out to people to react and watch, as opposed to actually get hands-on. So that's pretty interesting. It's a masterpiece. It's looking like a masterpiece already. Thomas in the chat, how's it going? Brett Williams, how you doing? TGK, how you doing? Darkness Wins, how you doing? Jeffrey, good to see everybody in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, a little bit different today. We're doing a live reaction session. Just looking through all of the cool things that are coming out, because the embargo is now up on Ratchet & Clank. So I think we'll load up the opening. That sounds good to me, and then we'll go into a little bit of what IGN and the official PlayStation YouTube have in store as well. This is only 2 minutes, so I'm gonna do my best to be quiet because it's like an interview thing. So let's just check we got good settings. Yeah, we got good settings. Let's go.
About the beginning of the game, like where do we meet them? What's kind of the first beat that we see?
So the first thing that you see is Ratchet and Clank are being celebrated at a parade, and it's a unity parade, and it's celebrating their past victories. And in a lot of ways, there's some angst about that because it's been a few years. As you said, they haven't exactly been out saving the universe because things have been relatively calm, and so our heroes are feeling a little bit unworthy of such
they do such a great narrative as well.
But that's where we start things
like
off, and that's where things start to go off the rails. But yeah, we're trying to make a game that is something that's accessible to new players as well as long-term fans, because frankly we have this franchise that's been around for nearly 20 years, and a lot of the players who are coming into this maybe weren't even alive the last time we did a full-length Ratchet entry. So
that's crazy to think.
We needed to kind of shortcut a lot of backstory in order to get new players to understand the essence of what's happening. And I think where we landed is using a lot of kind of shortcuts in storytelling that bring people in. You don't exactly need to get into the backstory of somebody like Dr. Nefarious for people to understand this guy is a bad dude, right?
On the flip side of that, though, how
point.
do you make it so that fans who have been there for 20 years feel like they're getting what they're wanting out of this as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily, people that have a lot of knowledge of the franchise, of the characters, of the planets, we've created this installment that has an alternate dimension. And so what longtime fans get to see is alternate dimension versions of characters that they've known and loved for years, and even some locations that come from previous entries. There's a lot there that I think longtime fans are going to be able to wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I'm in on this joke kind of reference that are things that aren't necessarily that important to new players.
Marcus, thank you so much for joining us.
Very clever. Very, very clever.
Viewers, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we have a ton of Ratchet stuff up on the site right now, so be sure to go check it out. So thanks. Be good to each other, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, guys, by the way, what I'm doing with the rest of my day and the rest of the week is I'm actually working on my visual piece, my talk show piece. I'm trying to push the channel into a place where we are able to hopefully one day interview devs and stuff like that, but and in general other gamers and things like that as well, and people that are like from my circle. I've moved in a few different circles, so it'd be very good to actually get in some of the people that are parts of my life to talk to them and stuff. But yeah, just watching these interviews and stuff like this, I've got so much to ask people. If I could get 10 minutes, and I'm trying to work on a way that it's like a live format as well, so all of you can actually be a part of it also. So yeah, I'm working on that. I reckon it's gonna end up very sort of Space Dog, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm working on the set at the moment, and I haven't decided, but it's a 3D set. I got a lot of work to do this week, but we'll get there, man. We'll get there. Let's watch the next video. Let's actually do it. I'm really thankful for everyone joining me for this. It's looking so good. It's looking so good. This is a bit longer. A bit louder by the sound of it. Just quickly, 5 mind-blowing details only possible on the PS5 put together by the PlayStation channel themselves. Let's go.
Hello, welcome to Access. I'm Rob. Joining us today is Rosie.
Hello, everyone.
We are fresh, well, not fresh, but we have recently seen the State of Play, which showed us 16 minutes of, I've got to say, incredible gameplay footage of
Ratchet
Clank Rift
We saw
Apart.
it.
I'm mind blown right now by just how I want to play it now, Rob. I want to have it. It looks so good.
Well,
We all
you've not
do.
got long to wait. It's coming out on the 11th of June. I was
We all
lucky enough,
do.
Rosie, recently to be in a digital presentation with various members of the Insomniac team who went in depth on various aspects of the game. I want to share some of those amazing revelations with you now.
Oh, please do.
I'm just gonna say this, man. Like, PlayStation, if you're out there or something, get me to present, man. I'm so sick and tired of Britain being represented by people that talk like this all of the time. I was lucky enough to come down and like it's the most boring British voice that I ever did hear and ever will hear. And it's like it's like the journalists that always get hired for this stuff went through journo school. They all have the same media training, and they lack a certain passion and delivery in the way that they actually talk on camera or through a microphone. It's all very, what we did was we actually watched the 16 minutes of State of Play footage, and I must say that I'm very, very excited, and I enjoy, I fucking hate that. Sorry, I'm just putting it out there. It really grinds my gears.
I take you through 5 mind-blowing details that are only possible on PS5. I'm still getting that new generation kind of novelty. Wow, this is so cool that games can do this now.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, oh my god, we're in the next gen of
Foxy Games
gaming.
UK.
What?
We
There's
are.
connections
The
in the
future
gaming
is
community
here.
and
The
does
future's
videos as
now.
well.
The first thing I want
Hey,
to talk about is the
maybe I
characters,
should.
specifically how they've brought the characters to life more than ever before. They were very keen, Insomniac, to talk about the fur and how much
Yes.
effort they've put into making not just Ratchet's fur, but Rivet, the new Lombax character, who we're going to be getting to play in
Hey,
Rift
they had to
Apart.
get the
fur
fur.
on both of them. I mean, you've seen it. If you've seen the State of Play gameplay and any of the other Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart gameplay, you've probably seen how detailed the fur looks now.
Oh yeah, it looks so gorgeous.
Yeah, for all the
And
furries
fluffy.
out there,
It
they had
looks
to
so
make
fluffy.
sure it was
And
perfect,
it's
man.
not just a visual thing. Like, a repeating theme that Insomniac talked about was charm.
The destruction
and
in this
how
is so
whenever
cool,
they're
man.
making a new Ratchet and Clank game, one of the things they always think about is how is this charming? How are we continuing to infuse that iconic Ratchet and Clank charm into this game?
I was going to say, charm's a really good word. Like, as soon as you said charm, I was, oh my god, Ratchet and Clank games are just filled with charm.
It's
Yeah,
just
and
joyful,
charisma.
charming, wholesome brilliance, isn't it? And obviously one of the ways they do that is by making Ratchet seem even more lovable and strokeable. I mean, you can't look at him in Rift Apart and not want to just stroke his ears.
In the
Alright,
State of Play,
alright,
I looked more
alright,
closely
buddy.
at the fur on his cheeks, and I just wanted to, like, rub his cheeks. Like, I think this was at a point where he just landed in a puddle
Hey, PlayStation UK furries confirmed right there. We got them in 4K, boys. We did it. Everybody, good job.
or something, and the fur looked,
Yes.
it genuinely looked like, you know, kind of wet, and I wanted to get a hairdryer and just, like, make it all fluffy again.
What is this place?
I'm glad you brought that up, Rosie, because Mike Fitzgerald, who's the core tech director at Insomniac Games,
This is the State of Play stuff.
and
we
he
saw.
was very excited when he was talking about this. He mentioned specifically creating like a detailed depth and coarseness to the fur. He wanted you to be able to see the grooming directions on the fur, like which way is it growing, and then he specifically mentioned that when the fur gets wet, it sort of clumps up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Wind affects the fur as well, so if you got your hairdryer out, you'd be able to see like little ripples of wind going across Ratchet's fur, and I just think it's amazing. It's one of those details that you're probably not going to see all the time, but like in the cutscenes, and photo mode is a thing with Rift Apart, by the way.
I can't
don't know
wait
if
for
you
photo mode,
knew
by
that,
the way.
Rosie, but
I
there
did,
is-
I was going to say,
I
like, I
can't wait
want
for
to
it.
go into photo mode and just look at the fur.
We should also mention Clank as well. They were talking very
They spent a good 2 minutes just talking straight up about how much they like the fur, to the point that it's hard to deny that these people go to Comic-Con in furry suits at this point. But like, to each their own.
excitedly about how they'd nailed the material that Clank is made of and how it very uniquely reflects the light of the world. It is a visual upgrade, but also it does sort of bring those characters to life more than we have ever seen before.
I can't wait for IGN to be like, you really feel the fur in this game.
On Rivet and Ratchet. It also gives Insomniac the opportunity to give more nuanced facial animation as well, so you can see every bit of joy and anguish on his face.
You see the reflection in
I
the
saw that with
Ferris's
Rivet,
helmet there?
especially in the
Crazy.
State of Play. There were loads of moments where you could see on her face on how much in awe she looked, like the way her eyes just sort of massively widened. And then Ratchet, like when he goes into the city, it's more kind of like you can see the confusion on his face as well. Like just seeing the contrast, I was just like, oh yeah, it looked so beautiful.
But that is a thing that Insomniac talk about a lot as well. Lindsay Thompson, who's the senior animator on the game, who also has a background in film animation, was saying like one of their goals is to make this feel like you're playing an animated movie. And they want that filmic quality.
It looks like they're
on
delivering
the
it though as well. That's the
and
thing.
The look of everything.
Yeah, fair play, because it really does, like, the animation is remarkable in it so far.
Can't anyone print instruction manuals anymore?
The second thing I want to talk about, Rosie, is just the world. The level of detail that has been crammed into each planet.
So nefarious, 10 out of 10. If Bam was on Access with his exploding hair, he'd be the anti-Rob. You love talking about my hair being exploded and shit, man. Am I like the first curly-haired guy that you've come across in life, or are you just bald? Well, it's got to be one of the two. So glad you're loving this. I'm a die-hard Ratchet and Clank fan to the point that I just bought the second-hand PS3 last week so I can play the OG ones. It's worth doing that for the playthroughs on this channel. What, you want me to go all the way, we go back to the start? I get my hands on a PS3 somehow? I start going backwards in the turn of events? And we play through every single Ratchet and Clank. I guess I could also play through older Resident Evils, which a lot of people keep asking me to do as well. I got Biomutant is open world than this much. 89 is Biomutant $89? Is that what it comes out? It doesn't look like an animated film. It looks better than an animated film. Yeah, 100%.
They were very keen to stress
100%.
how much effort has gone into making each planet feel like its own unique area with its own story. And you've probably seen in the footage how they're so dense as well, like there's so much life in them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Emperor Nefarious's sort of like city world.
Welcome to the Nefarious
Yeah, I mean this was blow away level. This was exploding hair level in the State of Play. I believe my hair did actually explode at that point in time.
Like just before he goes into the Nefarious Club, I was just looking around. There were so many things to look at and so many bright lights, and then just the contrast from going from like, you know, like a neon styled city then to a more like swampy feeling.
It was more cyberpunk than cyberpunk could have ever dreamed to
Obviously,
be.
the cool twist in Rift Apart is that you're visiting alternate dimension versions of planets that you may have visited in previous Ratchet and Clank games. So this is going to be a thing for fans, for long-time fans of the series to look out for. But just in terms of the tech
Look at that big
used
guy, man,
to
just
create
eating with his
these
tentacles.
new worlds, Mike Fitzgerald, again,
Crazy.
the core tech director, was talking really enthusiastically about stuff that I got incredibly excited about, because this is the kind of thing I do get excited about. The mud. The mud will deform under Ratchet's feet in real time as he walks over it. And then he did a whole bit. He did a whole bit on the water, Rosalie, and I was there just like, yes!
Give me more water and mud!
The water looks amazing. So
that's what does it for me.
They showed this pool of water, and there were like little sharks swimming around in it, and you could see individual ripples coming off the sharks' fins as they went through the water, which looked great in itself.
I mean, yeah,
and
this
then
is
they had
100%
Ratchet
a
start
game of the
firing
year
a weapon into the
contender.
water, and not only did
100%.
you get a splash and then a ripple from the splash, but also the shells that fell out of Ratchet's weapon as he fired would also fall into the water separately and create their own tiny little ripples. And then when these ripples collided with the ripples that the sharks were leaving, those ripples collide with each other realistically.
How many times can you say ripples in a sentence?
Many times, Rosie. I can say it many times.
I was just
because it was amazing.
I was picturing all the ripples, and then it was like, and more ripples, and then you see the ripples on this ripple, and I was just like, so many ripples. I love it.
And we're going to go on to point number 3 now, which is about the weapons. And of course, anyone who's had any experience with the Ratchet and Clank series before will know that eccentric, hilarious.
This is my favorite one here, Mr. Fun Guy. Like, just, yeah, you had me at Mr. Fun Guy. Thank you so much, Brett, for the donation. I massively appreciate you. For the PS3 fund, what's everybody's Game of the Year contenders? Returnal, 100%. This, by the looks of it, and I'm holding reservation for anything else currently, but we will see. Resi isn't in there for me personally, but that's just me.
Out there weapons are a big part of the appeal, but they were talking about how they've used specifically the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback on the DualSense wireless controller with the weapons in Ratchet and Clank. Adam Noonchesto, the lead gameplay programmer, was talking about a weapon called the Negatron Collider and how it has like a charge up function. And
the
before,
Negatron, you know?
maybe you'd hold L2 to charge it up and then press R2 to fire once it's fully charged. Whereas now, with the adaptive triggers, when you pull down the trigger, you feel that resistance in the trigger as the weapon is charging up, and you can sort of feel in the controller once it's ready to go. And when it is ready to go, all you have to do is pull through the resistance on the trigger and it fires the weapon. Not only does it give you this amazing tactile satisfaction, but it's also, in terms of gameplay, it's really handy if you're in the middle of a firefight to just know instinctively when your weapon is and isn't ready to go. Like, you can literally feel it in the controller. Like, okay, this is fully charged now.
That's a good
and then
point.
You pull through that resistance and bang, it fires. And then on like a separate note, just the imagination that's gone into creating some of these new weapons as well. One of the favourite ones, my new favourite, is the topiary sprinkler. Basically, it freezes enemies and they start growing leaves.
Yes,
So
I was
it's
going to
like
say that one.
also the pixelator, which is a returning weapon from
gotta love the
previous games,
pixelator, man.
which when you fire it at an enemy, it turns them into like a retro pixelated sprite version of
That's
that
what
enemy.
it says on the tin.
Apparently, when you use that in Rift Apart, every single pixel cube is fully ray traced, and you can go into photo mode. You can go into photo mode and examine in intricate detail each tiny pixel of enemy.
Oh my gosh! I found it recently with like a lot of modern games. I'm getting more and more into photo mode and just, you know, like playing around with all the features and taking pictures. Like, you know, if you're running in an area and then you're like, oh, this looks like a good shot, and then you just play around for a bit. And I can imagine myself, like, you know, in this lovely colourful.
I had to wean myself off photo mode. I'll be real with you, man. Photo mode is like, I get to a point where I do more photo mode than gaming. So I've sort of got to the point now where I'm like, I don't try and engage with photo mode as much. I try and play the game for what it is, because this shit will have you addicted, man. It's a serious problem in the gaming community. We got the classic, we talking about the we got the Returnal debate going on. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Like I said, I've got a video that I'm working on about Returnal and the state of saves and all of this other stuff. But I fully understand every argument around Returnal, but for me, it's still a Game of the Year contender regardless.
For platformer, I'm just going to be like, no platforming. We will stand still and I will take a picture.
It's a good way, I think, to be able to appreciate those finer details that you wouldn't necessarily see in just the regular gameplay. And I almost feel like it's the developers going like, hey, we spent a lot of time making this game look good. You will see it. You will see it up close.
You will put your pictures on Twitter.
I will. I will do that as well. Moving on to something I don't think gets
serious
talked
problem
about
in the
enough, and that
gaming
is
community.
the audio design. Daniel Baczynski, who's the audio lead on Rift Apart, was saying how excited he was when he first started working on the game. And
I mean, these 5 mind-blowing details they've put in here are pretty much just all standard things.
realised that PS5, he said, and I quote, PS5 is by far the biggest leap in terms of audio. What he was saying was, you know, he wanted to make the game sound like a movie. So you've got the animation and everything making this game
that shot's my
like
favourite, man.
And that's something
that
we often say. Ratchet Clank looks like an animated movie, but they're also working hard to make it sound as detailed and immersive as an animated movie as well. And he was talking in particular about the 3D audio. So if you've got like a compatible set of headphones and you can enjoy the 3D audio that the PS5 offers, you get all of this amazing stuff. And he was talking about how in Megalopolis you can hear ships flying above you and you can get a sense through the sound of how far above you they are. And of course, in these big futuristic cities, there's multiple layers of traffic flying at different heights above you, and you can hear like all the different lanes, so you can hear like if a hover car is whooshing right above your head, or you'll be able to sense and hear if it's like further up above you. And so it gives you that sense of depth and height, and I guess in that way immerses you into these worlds way more than just being able to look at them does. So they look incredibly detailed.
She skipped it.
But the sound design also makes you feel like you're in this space.
I love it as well with the
this is
like
crazy.
one bit of sound that I listened to quite a bit, not only because it was like really bassy, but when in the state of play Ratchet was walking towards the club, and then you just slowly heard the bass and the beats just getting louder, and I was like, I want more of this. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm going into an actual club. Like, it felt as if you were really in that area, you know, going to a club where, you know, the music does I know, like, saying music gets louder when you get close to it. It's a pretty standard thing, but I was like, it got me excited, you know, and just to listen to everything.
And I'm really glad you said that, Rosie, because that is something they talked specifically about, the bit in Nefarious City where your objective is, you know, go to the club, and the way in which you find the club is by listening to where it is, or at least that helps you pinpoint the location of it. And also, in terms of what, we should not skip over the fact that the soundtrack is being composed by Mark Mothersbaugh, who you may know as the composer from Thor Ragnarok, the Lego Movie 2, and quite recently the Mitchell
shout out
vs.
Thor
Machines.
Ragnarok, man.
You know, they wanted the game to not just look like a movie, but also
Wait,
sound
Ragnarok?
like a movie. So we've got not just the quality of the animation, the quality of the audio design, but the soundtrack is being composed by an incredibly experienced composer who has done animated movies, and not just animated movies, but incredibly epic, exciting movies for a long time. And it's just all of it together creates this package
composer,
that
man.
is, I think, insanely exciting.
I didn't even think of the music, because we were talking about the sound earlier. I was focusing so much on the sound effects, music, but and also music is quite a memorable thing with Ratchet and Clank. I mean, I remember a lot of the music tracks from the original PlayStation 2 game, and now you've said that, I'm just even more hyped for it, Rob. What have you done to me? I'm not going to play this game through my television. I'm going to...
The one takeaway that I really have, the best way to describe this game from everything I've seen so far is every texture in the game looks exactly how it should do, even if it's fantasy stuff. Like, every texture looks like what it's very close to the realistic tone and texture of it in real life, and I think that's something that's quite hard to achieve with you know, game graphics and stuff. But legitimately, they've done a great job. All the metals look metal, all the muds look muddy, all of the leaves look leaf-like. Like they've done such a good job with that.
Put on some headphones and full on just sit there, not talk to anyone, and just
obviously
be, like,
the fur.
listening.
They did say they wanted a theme that would be, you know, catchy enough that you would be humming it outside of playing the game.
Fantastic.
The fifth and final thing I wanted to talk about, Rosie, is the big thing in Rift Apart is the interdimensional stuff.
Yes.
And just technically how impressive that is and how amazing it looks. And we've seen it in all of the trailers so far. Obviously, it plays a big part in the story. The thing that impressed me most wasn't actually properly interdimensional. It was, I don't know if you saw it in the state of play, the Rift Tether.
Yes.
Which basically lets you hop onto different platforms within the world that you're in.
Yeah, you
but
pull the world
it's
to
not
you.
like you grabbing it and you flying over there. I can't even describe what happens. It's like you
it
grab it and you
comes to
pull the
you.
world towards you. And it looks amazing. It looks... It was like my mind couldn't quite grasp the physics of what it was seeing. But the way they've done it, it's so instantaneous and so smooth. All of a sudden, you're in a completely different part of the world, and it's not you that's flown to it. The world has sort of been pulled towards you. You've got to see it. Hopefully you're seeing it on the screen now, but it looks incredible.
I was going to say, it kind of like, it took me a while to process at first, because obviously with platformers, if you know there's a goal you've got to get to, you like, you know, look at where you can go. Can you climb a wall? Do you have to jump on some like boxes, for example? But literally, like with these little tethers, it's not a case now of like, how do you get there? You just pull it towards you. You're just like cutting out the jumping around bit, and you're just like, come here, and then you're done. You're there.
Get over here.
So I was just like, oh my god, like, you know, if you're trying to speedrun this game, I can imagine it's just going to be a case of yanking all of these worlds towards you.
They did mention traversal as well, like how they want all of these things to not just enable you to have more options during combat, but to enable you to traverse around the world in a more satisfying way as well. And Ratchet's got like the Phantom Dash ability now, which is like a dash where he sort of ripples through the dimensions, and during that brief period he is invulnerable.
Is that the one where you see, like, you know, kind of like an animation, you've got a flip book?
Yes.
And you have...
Yeah.
So I was gonna try and squeeze that into this feature as well, because I remember looking at that on the State of Play, and I was just looking at all the different Ratchets, and I was like, but they're so smooth as well, that they just naturally just blend, like not distracting at all. They just blend into each other.
It's amazing, isn't it? And so there you go. There are 5 mind-blowing details in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart that are only possible.
Not a single person of color in the lineup, man. Get it together, PlayStation Access. Get it the fuck together, man. Yeah. Representation counts. It's not just women out there. But again, like, we've seen most of the footage at this point. There was some interesting things that they actually brought up in this as well. But yeah, the game itself is looking spicy. Are we gonna watch the? Oh no, is this just the same preview from IGN? Is this just the same preview from IGN right here? Wow, I'm in the... No, there's no way I'm in yet. Look at this. I'm in my own results. How's that possible? That shouldn't make sense. Or does it make sense? Are we ranking right now under Ratchet and Clank? Can someone else confirm that? Are we the only ones live talking about this? And on 69 watching? Nice. Yeah, I think we've seen most of what is on offer. I mean, we can put the State of Play on again if anyone wants to watch it, or we can just have an open forum. And just let you guys sort of talk, because I've done a lot of reacting and talking. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings on this as we move into it. We're at 45 minutes, so I think it makes sense to round this little stream up to an hour. Also, if you've enjoyed, you're in your own rift. If you've enjoyed this sort of live reaction thing, I'd love to do these a bit more in future. I think it's a good way of looking at new stuff. Spicy, let's go. But yeah, the floor is open, people. Go ahead. Let me know what you're thinking and feeling. Really impressive. Really impressive. Can't wait to play it. I might even just pre-order it now. Should I pre-order it on stream? Shall I? I have to move some money over quickly, but that's not a problem. I'll do that. I think I want to. Watch Easy Allies. What, have they got a video up on it? Because it's the embargo. Oh yeah, they do. They got the hands-off preview. All right, we'll watch that as well. When I searched it on YouTube, you were the only one live I've seen. Hey, we're doing it, man. But we're making movements. I'm gonna go into the shop. I'm gonna order Ratchet and Clank right now. Because I'm sold. I was always gonna do it, but I'm just gonna get it out of the way so I don't have to think about it. Pre-order on stream so you guys can see my like bank details. Hey Ratchet, let's type that into the store. Oh, what wait. Do I want the digital deluxe? The thing is, right, it's not that I'm cheap. It's just I look at most of the stuff you get. Oh, you get 5 armor sets, photo mode stickers, 20 raritaniums, digital soundtrack, which we know is made by a great composer. Oh, am I gonna drop? Oh, I've spent so much money in the past 2 weeks. I mean, it's a difference of £10, and you get 5 armor sets. Let's do it, boys. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Hey, move over. How much is it? 80. It looks like an £80 game. Let's be real. Looks like an £80 game. Digital. Of course, I live digitally at this point in time. Is that moved over? Get physical copy, disc for sure. People saying get disc. No, digital. Because the other thing is, as a streamer, you have to remember, I can't allow for I can't allow for people to shop to you. You can get wallet top. I'm just gonna pay the full price, bro. I'm gonna do. I appreciate everyone looking out for my wallet, but I'm gonna do it right now. Confirmed. Right there. There it is. Look at that. Thanks for your purchase. It's done. It's done. Because the one thing about streaming is you want it digital, because especially being in the UK, if it goes live at midnight on that day, it means I don't want to be waiting around for a disc or something to come later that day. I want to be able to do my first impressions the second it goes live, because that's the kind of quality I like to bring to you guys. I like to make sure that I'm up there with the first people playing the game, so we can, if you've not purchased it yet, you can take a little look at it and you can decide, you know what, actually I am going to spend my money on this game. That's the kind of quality I ensure when I do my streams, you know. And that's why I have to get it at the digital, because it means it will always be readily downloaded. Susan in the chat, Ballistics in the chat, Base of Spades, K-Pap, thank you so much for subscribing. We have a lot of fun around here. Everybody is very welcoming. And we just enjoy the community vibe of gaming, which is the ultimate vibe that we try and create here, as well as also sometimes looking at weird random stuff. But yeah, I'm liking doing the live reactions. It's good to just look at what people have to say about the game. Yeah, I trust me, I'd love to do the resale hustle, but then at the same time, I kind of like collecting stuff, so even if I got them on the disc, I'd probably end up just keeping them in my house anyway, so I could be one of those guys that goes on like Twitter and goes, here's my PS5 game collection, and then gets like fucking 300 likes or some shit. But that's only if you're part of the elite PlayStation cult that lives on Twitter. If you're kind of like, you play other stuff, yeah, you don't get the backing of the cult like ponies. But if you're one of them diehard pony guys that like, you can post like a screenshot from your gameplay and people will legitimately be like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking like this instantly. It doesn't matter if you've got like 1,000 followers or whatever. Fucking the pony mentality on Twitter is something crazy. Yeah, I'm talking about him. But shout out J-Dub, he's my favorite. The leader of the rebellion himself, J-Dub.
Access provided by PlayStation.
Dr. Nefarious? Ratchet and Clank! What a wonderful surprise! I didn't expect to see you here. Considering my goons were meant
So we're going to see a lot of the same
you
footage. I'm
8
bringing it down a little bit,
ago.
but I'm interested.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart preview.
Hey.
We are Easy Allies. I am Michael Huber, joined by Bradley Ellis.
Hey.
Howdy. Brad, I had the chance to watch Rift Apart. I have not played it. I just got to see it. They showed us an extended gameplay.
It's crazy that they just sent it out to people.
Went through kind of each of the departments, audio, visual, design, and story, and then just talked about it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's dive in. First up, if you are wary of spoilers, now is the time to leave. Technically, these are not spoilers because this is straight from Insomniac before the game is out. But if you are really wary about that, if you want to go into Rift Apart, you know, with knowing as little as possible, I would leave immediately. Okay?
All right, let's wrap it up.
All right, so first order of business. We are after Into the Nexus, confirmed. Many years have gone by, and all of that history and lore is being honored. They talked about it quite a bit. And when they were designing it, you know, they were like, how much of the previous lore do we need? They felt they had a responsibility of continuing the story that many fans have been following for years. And it picks up after a few years after Into the Nexus. And there's plenty of nods of the game's past. But to new players, this is a self-contained story. You know, a universal story of family, friendship, heroism, still honoring the stuff that came before it, but also a great place to jump in, and mainly because of Rivet, this new female Lombax character who is now confirmed. Here the spoilers come.
You know what I didn't take notice of right here is like the fact that she's got one arm that is just a robot arm. Like I didn't actually clock onto that, but one of her arms is she's got a Rivet Winter Soldier vibe about her now. I'm just noticing that now.
Oh, she is alternate dimension Ratchet. Confirmed.
Okay, yeah.
So that was always alluded to. It is now confirmed that she is a different version of Ratchet, which is really, really awesome. And Brad, the main takeaway from this was
These
how much
furries,
they
though.
love this character.
Her boots
Rivet.
are so cool.
Like the level of passion I felt from Insomniac towards this character was palpable, dude. It was electric. Like they were hyping her up more than Ratchet. Like this whole studio, dude, rallied behind Rivet. And you just really feel that just from, you know, the little
Her
gameplay
arm
spots I've
changes
seen.
into it.
I have a question about this. So I'm into Rivet. I'm down, but I don't.
We got him 4K. One thing that's been like bugging me, not bugging me at all, but this place is called Little Junktown, which makes me just think of like if you played Overwatch, like Junkertown is where Junkrat and Roadhog come from, and it's very similar in aesthetic as well. I would love for them to like be little Easter eggs, even though there makes no sense for them to be Easter eggs. But it'd be so cool if there was a little like Junkrat and Roadhog homage in Junktown, Little Junktown, you know. That'd be awesome.
Don't want them to do Ratchet dirty.
No.
And feel like he's playing second fiddle.
Yeah, no, it does not feel like
they
that.
may pass the torch eventually, but all I hear them like when you're saying they're just talking about Rivet this whole time.
Yeah.
Makes me a little a little sad. Like I feel like Ratchet's getting left out.
They were sure to hype up Ratchet as well, and Clank, and their
I'm sure
bond,
they hyped up
obviously
everything.
a lot of bonds in Ratchet and Clank. It's a very introspective game, which is what they really hyped up to. They said the first, the PS2 games, the story was built around the action. And then the next games, it was like big set pieces, still more action. They were talking about just how each series kind of represents a different style of storytelling. And then now with Rift Apart, they're all about the internal struggle.
Oh, God.
And obviously they're going to hype up Rivet a lot because she's
See that
a
death
brand new
animation?
character.
That was awesome.
But they were not throwing
that death animation as well. Now that I'm watching this footage a couple times over, I'm starting to appreciate some of the finer details. The way these two die is awesome. This guy jumps into the air and gets caught in the breeze.
Obviously, they're going to hype up Rivet a lot because she's a brand new character. But they were not throwing. Not throwing Ratchet away by any means for sure. So there's these rifts, these like alternate dimensions, and we see some other characters and different variations of them. Skid McMarks. Hoverboarder.
Love Skid McMarks.
Dude, his alternate form is Phantom, and he's like some resistance fighter.
Whoa, what?
So that's just an example
Let's
of
go.
some of these characters just being able to play with, these old familiar characters in completely new ways has me so excited. There's another one. I don't even want to talk about it, Brad. I'm just going to leave it off the table, but there's a lot of fun ones from characters past
Feel bad for Captain Quark
that are coming back in new
Feels bad, man.
ways.
Feels bad.
So that's a lot of the story. Each planet has its own kind of self-contained story. It's definitely going for that style of gameplay. Its own ecosystem, enemies, side characters.
That's awesome.
Just talking about like the tech of being this was the greatest quote, Brad. Greatest quote from Adam Noonchester, lead gameplay programmer. This was the first game I've worked on where we didn't have to tell the designers to reduce enemy types.
Wow.
Because of next-gen tech.
Yeah!
First
That's
time.
incredible.
Like, off the chain, let loose, and just all those little details of, like, as we just keep getting better and better tech and newer games, just all the little things they can pay attention to, like adding a little hook on this character or a little ball here and a little hat here, just how much they can do to build this world and make it come to life.
That's so
Super
cool.
excited about that. But, Ratchet & Clank Bride, it's not just all about the bonds. What else is it about?
That makes me a little bit sad about the fact that we probably won't get a Days Gone 2, because can you imagine the horde system in next gen? I think it would be probably overwhelming, but also awesome.
The weapons?
The weapons.
Yeah.
First thing they hyped before we get into the weapons, they were really, really hyping it up. Rivet, they're hyping, and the DualSense.
Ooh.
They were throwing around quotes like Ratchet and Clank, like the DualSense was made for this series, straight up.
Yes.
Which I'm probably going to agree with, because it's Ratchet and Clank, and it is all about the weapons. So they can't wait for players to experience the DualSense.
I can't wait.
So when they're designing weapons, they have 3 pillars, Brad. Spectacle, strategy, and humor/uniqueness.
Okay.
And when they make each one, they want at least one of they said this is not me. They said they want at least one of these categories to be a 10. Before they put it in the game.
Make it a 10.
Yeah. In at least one of these categories.
That's funny.
So a couple weapons they showed off. The Megatron Collider, which is this giant beam. It's like just hyper beam, dude. Like piercing through enemies. The DualSense, you can like charge it up and then release.
This has been the best video so far.
Double barrel shotgun. Kind of Returnal vibes here, Brad, where you do a half half click single barrel, full click double barrel.
Full click all day.
Full click every single time, dude. Is there even another option? The Ricochet sounds so fun, dude. I thought of you for this one. Okay.
Oh.
A metal ball shoots out, and then that metal ball like opens up, and if you time it perfectly, like when it's like half open and you click, it'll slam back down and do bonus damage.
Oh my god.
And you can keep doing that. It's called Ricochet. So you like wait for the ball to open up and you trigger and it hits down and you do it again. So it's like this little mini game.
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, where you're just slamming this ball around.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah. The burst pistol, which is like, they showed that. It's like half is like more focused, and then if you hold it, it's full auto. Those are most of the weapons they showed. Still a lot more to come, obviously. So I was very happy already with the weapon variety. They also showed that sprinkler one that makes everyone turn to grass.
Oh yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah. Couple game-changing things. The really big one that they hyped was the Phantom Dash we've seen in the trailers. Right. And this, they said, really fundamentally changes combat. Just being able to phase out of reality. It's a phase out. So you can like iframe things, I'm pretty sure.
Not so we, Roger.
And then just
so we got a pirate
around,
themed level as
really
well,
easy
which is
to
awesome.
cancel, I think, and like jump into another move. And then the hover boots as well. You're kind of like rolling all around. And the Rift Tether, obviously. Being able to use it not just for traversal, but for combat.
Right.
Like, he was pinned down. Rivet was pinned down. And they were like, they had the high ground. And then they rift up to the high ground to turn the tables on the enemies. So a lot of that.
Flanking abilities, man. Crazy.
For combat. Combat looked great. There's one thing as a spectator that bothered me, Brad. And it's when changing weapons, bringing up the weapon wheel, it pauses the action. And in Ratchet & Clank's past, too, it just can become a little too much where you're pausing it, picking your turret, throwing it out, picking another, like, defensive item, throwing it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Picking up the, you know, switching to this one, and it just, like, pauses the action.
That's when you need that you need a quick cycle button for something like that, you know, so you can just go through the wheel without opening the wheel. Hopefully they have something like that, but if by the sounds of this already, it doesn't seem like they do. But for some people, like, that pause can be so key in combat at the same time. But I completely feel him on what he's saying right here about how that could be a little bit of a gripe with it. All
the time, because it's so fast-paced and breakneck. It just stood out as a spectator. Obviously, I wasn't playing, so maybe I won't feel that as much. Right. And that's not new to the series. That's been a thing in past, but it just really stood out as I was watching. I was wondering if there maybe would be an option to turn it off, just if it would just be too overwhelming, maybe, if it didn't pause.
There's probably hotkeys.
There are, yeah. I saw the D-pad. There's 4 options, so maybe that's enough to alleviate.
That's what 2016 had, I remember.
But just something I noticed.
Yeah, fair play.
Speaking of, there's a ton of accessibility options, even more so than Miles Morales. There's a global time slow that you can just assign to the D-pad, and if environmental puzzles are just too much, you can just slow the game down. Just slow it down, and then you can turn it off. Yep. So they just want everyone to be able to play how they want to play.
Even if I don't need that feature. Puzzles, you say? Environmental puzzles, you say? Make them easier? Yes.
I assume, just like the other Ratchets, there'll be a challenge mode when you beat it, like a New Game Plus type. Harder enemies and things.
Let's go.
There's optional rifts, Brad. This excited me. Optional rift challenges where then the designers just went nuts with a specific mechanic in each one of these. You know, we've seen the mount where they were like riding the bug.
Yeah.
If you make it to the end, you get a little armor piece. Tons of armor customization.
Ooh.
You can even get the stat without wearing it, I think they said. You know, if you don't like the look of it. Mixing and matching sets.
Transmog confirmed.
There were 3 pieces that you could mix and match, and then you could change colors on those. So that sounded really cool. And then obviously leveling up your weapons and your items and your health, all that good Ratchet and Clank stuff.
From the worlds you saw, how, like, did you get a sense of the scale of the world, the size of it?
So the main gameplay clip we
see this right here. I'm gonna be doing this in super slow motion.
We saw was Rivet and Clank trying to find the fixer to fix an item.
Okay.
And they were in kind of a Grand Canyon, Arizona desert vibe environment.
Here's my shot.
And it was exhausting. It was so much action, dude. Breakneck pace, shooting and jumping and gliding and grinding. It was so much. So it felt a lot bigger. They were quick to say, you know, each one of these is obviously not as big as Manhattan from Miles Morales and Spider-Man, but they are a lot bigger than Ratchet's been in the past.
Okay.
But we're definitely not open world.
I love
but
that.
But they take that tech into it. That streaming tech, the same tech that they would use in an open world game where things behind you are being streamed out, things in front of you are streaming in, just in your vicinity. So they use a similar tech to Miles Morales.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And that's really it. Somebody brought up 2016. You know, because we're continuing into the Nexus. Somebody brought up 2016 and said, remember that was from Quark's perspective, sort of an unreliable narrator situation.
Okay.
That's all they really said about that. You know, because somebody asked, you know, why are you came up in the whole, you know, after into the Nexus thing. Other quality of life things they've introduced, an ammo bar on the reticle that you can see.
Okay.
When you're shooting enemies, more chunks are flying off of them, so you know you're hitting of even more
damage.
Strafing has been improved.
I mean, the strafing was pretty damn good in the last game.
Recoil and camera shake has been added to every single weapon, and depth of field as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Tons of mounts. They wanted the mounts to feel like living creatures.
Awesome.
There's also a sick Arachnodroid minigame where you're a tank going through solving things.
Hell yeah.
And Clank, of course, will have
man.
Mini games. Yeah.
That's really it, Brad. It's shaping up.
Yeah. Like, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about it? You're the big Ratchet fan.
I'm feeling
out of us.
Excellent about it. And lastly, Mike Mothersbaugh from Devo is doing the music.
Okay.
There we go.
So that whole.
What I really like, this was probably the best video we watched today. You see what I was saying earlier about the passion and excitement in the way that you deliver things? I'm also going to subscribe because Easy Allies, you've made a fan of me right here. What an awesome present. He got so much good information across in all of that. without it being overbearing. But at the same time, you could really feel his excitement in all of that. So thank you so much for this. This has definitely been the best one we've watched today. I mean, across the board, I think excitement is high for this game. I think we're all really looking forward to this, and I can't wait. Everything already looks pretty damn good on YouTube, but to see it actually for our own eyes, like through our own eyes, playing it is going to be something completely different. I'm quite not confused, but the fact that they've sort of sent out this footage for people to view is kind of crazy to me. Not crazy, I don't think crazy is the right word, but it's interesting that no one's actually getting to play the game just yet, and it's out fairly soon. I'm sure review copies will be going out, but it's interesting to me that they've sort of done... This is a kind of thing that a lot of people in the movie industry do. Like, I remember when Homecoming was coming out, Spider-Man Homecoming, I got called down to go and do a preview of the movie where we saw like the first 20 minutes and then some other footage. But usually when they do that sort of approach and they only show the publicists or the journalists and all of those kind of people a certain amount of it, that usually means that there's some good twists and turns in store for that product. So it will be interesting to see what the full reviews are saying. But that to me does seem like that they know they've got such a good game on their hands that they don't actually need to put out any more than what they're doing. But yeah, it's interesting that it's been like a hands-off preview at this point in time, considering they're like, oh, we're going to drop the embargo. So it's a smart move, but it makes me wonder if they're actually got a few story beats and things set up that they don't want people to find out about just yet. So that's quite interesting as a takeaway for me personally as well. You can really feel their passion about gaming. Yeah, 100%. They really put it across in a beautiful way. Do I miss my Xbox? Bro, name one game that's come out since the new Xboxes have dropped that looks anywhere close to that. And that's not me doing console wars kind of stuff. That's like, I just feel like I would have made a disappointing decision if I had gone with Xbox for this next gen move anyway. I know my friend has one. He doesn't really talk about playing any games on it, and most of the time he's still just playing on his PC. So yeah, I'm completely happy with my choices in life at this point in time. It's as simple as that, man. It's as simple as that. Matty, how you doing? What's up, Bam? Your cam looks good. Thank you so much, man. I think it's, as George said earlier, I need to work on the white balance a little bit. I'm looking a little bit like orangey overall, but that's a simple fix. I'm really happy with it. It's allowed for a great sort of approach to making these streams quality even better. I really do like this new layout that we've got going, the little Bamalam box on screen. Like, I like this. This can be moved around depending on where the game's HUD placement is. So really thankful that I've actually moved up the quality. And I also really do like having this little chat box where you get like a top message from people popping up as well. I think that's really cool. I'm going to be working on this, the new studio, but I also don't mind this. I think it looks pretty damn cool. Thank you for all of your feedback and recognizing that I'm trying my best to up the quality. It makes me feel better about the investments in doing so. But yeah, really am enjoying my PlayStation experience. Since the beauty of it is the first game I played was Spider-Man, and that was just such a great way to get into the PS4 experience. And since then, it's just been great game after great game after great game after great game, and they haven't stopped. Essentially, they just haven't stopped. They just keep coming and keep getting better. So I'm really, really, really thankful that I made the right decision, and everybody that helped me out at the time and said, you got to try the PS experience. You got to try these exclusives. They're great. Trust me. If you're a fan of these trailers, because I reacted to a few trailers, you've got to actually try them for yourself. And I think Ratchet Clank is probably going to be our biggest Game of the Year contender so far, and that's only mid-year by the looks of things. So I'm very interested to see how the next 6 months play out. But everything I've heard and everything I've seen over this past hour has only just sort of validated what we already knew. The game looked like it was going to be awesome. Insomniac are a great production team. They know exactly what they're doing as game developers, and they really do push out just just elevated content. Essentially, it's 10 out of 10 material a lot of the time, and everything here is looking perfect. Is the sound bug gone? The sound bug was nothing to do with my setup. The sound bug was completely to do with Returnal. Funny enough about that, I actually had one guy that I follow on Twitter posted a video where he'd be doing a 3-hour run. It looked like he was well into maybe the 4th biome. He had the sound bug happened, and then from that happening, his game actually completely froze and crashed. And then I had Milan, who's like a watcher, pops up in the chat from time to time, message me today on Twitter as well, saying that he was just doing a run through despite completing the game, and he was like 2 hours in, and again he had a sound opportunity and then a crash as well. So it's nothing to do with me. It's an actual Returnal issue, which is overall quite worrying. And as I said, I'm working on a video which will be talking about this tomorrow, and I'll be back to streaming Returnal in the evening tomorrow as well. But I've got an upload coming about this state of Returnal, not in a negative way, but I think there's some things that really need to be addressed and looked at. And I kind of have come up with a sort of compromise to, while I know people want a save system, I think there needs to be a way that they sort of compromise without losing the integrity of the game completely. But all of that will be addressed in the video tomorrow. So I'd really like your thoughts and feelings on that once it goes out. I've got a New World reaction video coming out a bit later, which I filmed earlier. That will be out a bit later. If you don't remember, New World is the MMO that's coming out from Amazon themselves. I probably will be streaming that a fair bit on the channel because I am a big fan of MMOs. MMOs are great because, one, you're usually playing them on your PC itself. And two, that means, like with MMOs, there's always a lot of downtime, which works out really well for being able to... you can stop, you can watch stuff if a trailer comes out or anything like that. You can quickly cross over and watch that because you're already on your PC setup. It's not like you have to change anything over. And I really did like New World as a whole. It was quite a fun MMO from the outlook. It's a nice big 3D environment. It's got Souls-like combat, which makes it really quite fun as well. And on top of that, they actually have my sort of hair, so they got like a Sideshow Bob kind of hair look. So I'm hoping that on the marketplace or in the gear you can get glasses, and we're gonna have a fully immersive experience doing that. I'm not streaming a game later today, but I will be back streaming tomorrow. I'm taking a little bit of time off streaming, not time off, but I'm going back down to only 3 videos or 4 if we're lucky. This counts as a stream as well, but for the rest of the week. So that's my summary. Sorry, I went a little bit off on a little talk there. Ice cream van, yeah, you hear that? I could go for an ice cream. Could actually go for one, but if anything, I'll walk to the shop and get one a bit later. But yeah, so yeah, please do check out my New World video if you can be bothered to. But other than that, thank you so much for watching this. It's been a lot of fun. I like doing this without, you know, like it's a nice way to do sort of live reaction. So thank you all for watching. Take care of yourselves, look out for each other as always, and I will be back and see you soon, you know?